Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 523. This is your guide to the geek side, and I am one of your hosts, Todd Extra. Oh my goodness, Charlie, so many changes in my life. I am now the proud owner of an EV, the Mustang Mach-E, so I'm going to be going crazy fast. It's black, it's crazy fast, and I hope I don't get a ticket.
Life crisis. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you still here?
Yes, I turned 50 the previous week. Very exciting. And I'm going to do that this afternoon. I'm converting back to iPhone.
I knew it. I love it anytime Todd has something he says, well, it's the best thing ever. And then he eventually dumps it and goes back to the thing that other people like.
I have never claimed it. I've always said every phone I've ever owned has always had issues. They all have issues. Android, Apple. That's why I went from one to the other.
Yeah. I have been an Apple user since probably 2010. And I've been a Verizon user for 20 years. So I just, it's never anything I've ever had to dance around about. I also don't switch internet providers. I got a friend of mine in the neighborhood who uses AT&T because I know she's a very budget conscious person, and it always fails on her. And I said, you know what? April and I both work from home. We can't have bad internet, so we pay more for Xfinity. Sometimes you got to do. I
may be switching on my internet as well. Their promised speeds, but I've got 1 gig fiber, and fiber is the best internet you can get.
Fiber is the best. Fiber's best.
But upload speed not as advertised. I don't get as good coverage in the house. I don't have a direct connect anything, so I'm like, maybe I'll go back to Mediacom, my old provider. There's some issues, but they're also cheaper, and I know their system. I've got all the equipment. I don't have to do anything. Just turn the switch. So we'll see how that goes.
I don't know. We will see.
Everything's coming up, Todd. And when I say that, who knows?
Todd, and and I gave you a secret blessing. I said, this is your midlife crisis. That means you're going to live to be 100. What do you think about that? 100-year-old Todd.
That's true. Although
Todd
middle.
Todd will be, he'll be 3'6" by the time he's 100. He'll just keep shrinking. But that's okay. I hope I live that long too. But yeah, we got a great show for you. We've got a returning guest on for the Thunderdome as we kick off our 2025 Summer Movie Challenge. That's right, we're bringing back Johnny Rose, Jonathan Sierra, the original Secret Friend. So you have that to enjoy at the end of the show. But let's kick things off, as we always do, by talking about the wonderful people at our Patreon, Secret Friends Unite, Super Squad. These are the people who get the exclusive shows, early shows, ad-free shows, cool Discord benefits. Check this out. 1 week for free, 50% off your first month, and stay on board for as little as $2 a month. That is the good things come in threes. Check that out. These folks know what I'm talking about. Derek Trevelyan, my buddy, the figure dude, Francie, who does my wife's hair, Xbox Expansion Pass, Mr. Luke Lohr, and my great uncle Tim Horan down there in South Haven, Michigan, John Sedorf, the Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Kelly and Crayley, Brendan Myers, Corey and HD, Matthew Keel, our buddy Kurt Crew. Got to hang out with him at this toy show yesterday for quite a while. Hung out and kind of shot the breeze. It was pretty cool. So it was great to see Kurt. Our friend Tanya Lee, who was also the chooser of our random episode over on Code 47 this week. So we have that to enjoy. And we have our new folks, Chipotle Bear, who got to enjoy getting his superpower. And I'll run through the list, but then we'll come back. Famous Seamus is going to get his superpower this week. Cam the Movie Man, Jay Newport 007, and Brian Osterman. Ty, you didn't edit this. I think I picked Darth Prozac as his name. I think you picked the other one. So what do we land on?
We'll just do Prozac Man, aka Darth Prozac. We'll do both.
Okay, very good. Well, I remember you said you wanted to pick one who was driving nuts, but you know what? As usual, Todd pulled a reversal. That's okay. But we circle back to Famous Seamus. You know him better than I do. I'm afraid I'm not aware of him.
Yep. So Famous Seamus, he is also a Canardian. He is out near Mark. They attend all the events together.
Gotcha.
Famous is Seamus has been a hardcore. I've known him for years. He used to be a big fan of Bobby. Mark is known Seamus. I believe they've even met in person at one of the cons there. And he's been just a great guy. I've had him on the co-op mode, and he's always part of the conversation, always highlighting articles, and so glad to have him part of the team now. So with that, Charlie, he is a big con goer. He collects a lot of the merch. He loves video games, but he's a geek a geek renaissance man. So with that, power would you give them?
Well, it's an easy one. Anybody who goes to a con with any regularity, even without any regularity, knows about the con stench. You end up with people who just they don't do the hygiene, like they weren't raised wrong. I don't know what it is. I get up in the morning, I take a shower. If I work out, I take a shower. I don't like to smell bad. So famous Seamus, regardless of whatever his hygiene is presently, has the ability to create this like invisible woman style barrier that allows air to stay within his bubble, yet exit and re-enter in such a fashion that the con stench is not near his person. He's able to breathe without having to have the smell as he's walking through one of those busy cons out there in Nova Scotia. Con stench.
So he's got his like Febreze.
Yeah,
like Pigpen, but it's the other opposite way. It's like he's always got around. It's like stench. You are not getting in.
It's an exhaust air makeup system. It's something that we sell at my company. Where in a restaurant we suck the grease up, get it out of the building, and bring air back in that's clean, so that your whole restaurant doesn't smell like grease. Same deal.
Very good. So there you go. Famous Seamus, you never have to smell another bad smell ever again in your life. So congratulations. I like that. My power up is also to do with cons, but I think it's not even just cons. Just this now is your way in life. You now are always first in line. You show up at the end of the line, they say, "This way, sir." You get the power up where you're there. You never have to wait in the line again. Useful in many different ways. Airports, restaurants. If you're waiting to go to the DMV, you're waiting to pre-order something, get a video game, you're always first.
Number one, a VIP's VIP. So congratulations. Lastly, but not leastly, the people that make it all happen, the Great Nice family out there in the Twin Cities, Sean, Stella, and Henry. We are grateful for all that you do to support us. Remember, Secret Friends Unite. Patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. 7 days for free, 50% off that first month. Stay on board for as little as $2 a month. We'd love to have you. So moving on over to July. Wow, this has happened on my anniversary, July 5th in 1961. So I wasn't around for that. But DC Comics, this was right around the beginning of when the Fantastic Four came out for the first time. So check that out. But this is a DC Comics. It's Wonder Woman featuring Wonder Girl, still 10 cents. I remember that FF number 1 was 10 cents, but by the time we got around to Amazing Spider-Man number 1, comics cost 12 cents. So this was right at the end of that era, I can tell. But anyway, Wonder Woman number 1, we have a gigantic friggin' snake, a king cobra that is 20 feet tall. Standing next to, if you're not watching us on YouTube, which I hope you are, with what I appeared as, is that Wonder Girl or Wonder Woman? Because she's wearing kind of a little different. She's got the ponytail. Isn't that Wonder Girl?
I can tell you, Charlie.
Yeah, please. And she's
the synopsis. The synopsis of this: Wonder Woman and Queen Hippolyta go through Wonder Woman's photo album, reliving adventures of Wonder Tot and Wonder Girl, and having new adventures in which the Amazon princess enters a world within a photograph. So that would have been Wonder Girl, and then there's probably Wonder Tot is the baby, Wonder Tot, which is great.
But anyway, the word bubble. So yes, this is young Diana, if she was in fact Wonder Girl. Stop playing the magic flute, mer boy. And there is a mer man with blonde hair, but he's
a boy.
Fish bottom, boy top. Playing a flute, and he says, as she said, stop playing the flute. He says, I can't. The snake looks agitated, and use your imagine. What is behind him? It's like purple spikes. Like, is that going to be his defense?
It's a plant. Just a plant.
So yeah, you're right. There's a box lower left-hand corner that says Wonder Tot, Wonder Girl, and Wonder Woman, starring in the 4-part Amazon Magic Eye album. Sounds like there should be an ad on the back of it where you can, get your own like Grit magazine. Don't you think?
Wonder Tot. So basically a toddler Wonder Woman. How great is that? You know what?
I love
it. Charlie, I was a Wonder Tot or Wonder Todd, and you were Charlie Tot. So there you go.
I was a Charlie Todd?
Charlie Tot.
How did you get? Oh, Tot. I thought you said Charlie Todd. I'm like,
no, a tater tot. You're a Charlie Tot number.
Is that like
I'm a Wonder Todd?
Put us in the pods, like in the Fly, and made us into one person. I don't know how I feel about that. But anyway, speaking of someone who was involved in such a ghastly experiment, was our own Madam Web. Yes, our senior news correspondent at 125 years young. Back in the day, she was doing some weird stuff, but these days she works for us down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, getting all the latest news and scoops of what's going on in the entertainment world. Let's do it.
Now it's time for Madam Web's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Web. Madam Web, I believe you are also a big fan of electrical cars. You designed one of the first electrical cars. What you decided to do was hook up a power line that you cut down, you put it into a lawnmower. You decided, let's make this happen. You also then added a hamster to the wheel to move it forward. Didn't go very well. The Humane Society showed up at your door. They end up going into your house. Let's just put it this way. You lost the house. You lost all your pets. Hopefully you've changed your ways.
I think the hamster won that lawsuit, so that's probably his place now. I'd be willing to bet. But anyway, so we remember, was it 2 years ago over on Hulu, they had the Predator Prey. So this was that 2 years ago? Was it 2023?
I thought it was 2001, maybe?
2021,
maybe?
Oh, okay. So going back.
It was on Hulu. Yeah, it was on Hulu.
It was on Hulu. But yeah, this was so it was a, direct to streaming Predator film set in, the ancient West, the Old West time period, or even going further back. Maybe it was, basically 1,000 years ago, the plains of the Americas, so the indigenous people. And one of them coming up, and I can't remember the young actor's name.
It was like 1700s because the French were involved. So we're talking 1700s. Yep.
I don't know that I've ever seen it again, but it was tremendous. A lot of people absolutely loved it, and that was made by Dan Trachtenberg. And so his success doing that, or the acclaim he's gotten that, has now led to a feature film that will be in the cinemas. I'm guessing. Is this now I don't have it in front of me. Is this going to be?
It's a movie release.
No.
In
but
theaters.
Is it this fall, or are we looking at next year? We have a trailer.
November
so
7th.
It's this fall.
November
right?
7th, 2025.
We are getting Predator Badlands. Set on another planet. Now, that's not the first Predator movie that's taken place off of Earth, because there was Predators where I think you had Adrian Brody and Eric Foreman were the stars. That, the one I'm talking about? Did you see that one?
I've never seen it. I've never seen Predators. I didn't see the other one that came out, Predator. No.
Yeah, where they had Jake.
There was another one.
Jake Busey was the son of the character from Predator 2 that his dad played.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. But anyway, yes, Trachtenberg revealed a number of new details. The new Predator, which is basically he's man-sized. So he's a dude with a predator head, is what I was kind of getting for it. The Predator is called Dek, and he's D-E-K, described as an underdog Tija Runt of the protagonist role. Okay. Predator movies typically feature the
he is a runt.
Yautja is the name of the alien race. Okay, I never knew that. But yes, Dek has selected for a hunting ground on a planet called Kazlisk, and he has to
which is the death planet.
Yes, exactly. He has to prove his worth to his father and acceptance for his own clan, and in order to do that, he has to kill Ellie Fanning and whatever's going on with her, like weird little eye trick. So what's up with her and that eye trick? Is she a robot? What's going on?
Good question. Apparently, Trachtenberg said the on-screen relationship between Dek and Fanning's character was inspired by a 2005 masterpiece, Shadow of the Colossus, which is very interesting because Shadow of the Colossus is essentially about a guy who's underpowered, who has to revive a princess and beat all of these giant beasts that he has to crawl upon to finally find their weak spot and kill them because he's just too small. Him being a runt makes sense that, he has to prove his worth. And I assume, like predators, like if you are weak, they will take you out. And her specific character, they don't give a lot of detail. I'm looking for details on her. They mainly focus on him, but the fact that she looks like she almost can see things, like she has visions or something, but she's on this planet. We see spaceships so it is kind of cool to see a predator not once again in a space where he's taking on what we would call savages. It's more like, hey, he's taking on other creatures. We get some higher tech, but
It's very
he does look a little bit different. And when I saw Badlands, Charlie, I thought this was going to be a Predator versus Cowboys movie, but I'm kind of glad to be wrong.
Predator versus Bruce Springsteen, because that's one of his famous songs.
Yeah,
it does say in the caption, because they do have a picture of Ellie Fanny here. It says that's the Weyland-Yutani logo on Ellie Fanny's eyes, because she's fluttering her eyes.
Is she
and it just says Weyland-Yutani. So is she a bot? So sounds like she's probably a bot, but why is she there? How did that all go down?
So is that like now like continuity? We do know that Predators and Aliens are in the same universe.
I mean, as far as
because they've crossed over in the comics.
Well, no, they've had Alien. I mean, there's been films, but the question is,
correct? But those were like, I don't know. Like it's like, did they really happen, or was it just a cash in because they were owned by Fox, and Fox is like, let's make something. There was a comic book. There's been video games, so
don't know. So
we don't have a Alien Predator like the closest thing we have is because Ridley Scott sometimes is involved in the movie, sometimes he's not, and then now Dan seems to be the Predator godfather who's kind of in charge of it. So I think they can just do whatever the hell they want.
I guess, and
which is fine with me.
Though we're not really covering it because the trailers, there wasn't a ton of info, but we're getting the Alien TV show on FX/Hulu also this summer. So will there be some kind of tie-in there? Who knows? That's the first.
Well, that's the first time aliens have been in TV. We did get like the Predator, which was a movie that really could have been released in theater. So the fact that that's going to be a TV series on Hulu, that's kind of cool. But hey, I don't know, TV series budget for Aliens never been done before. But you know what? The original Alien probably didn't cost that much.
Yeah, they find a way to stretch stuff. So, all right. Well, sooner than that, we're getting a second season of Wednesday with the delightful Jenna Ortega over on Netflix. And I have to tell you, I don't remember a ton. The first season of that was at 2023. It was in 2023.
Yeah. Spend some time. People have been, she crushed it.
You're gonna have to slam me a recap video because I remember the dance. That was the big deal. But she was also fighting mystical forces and all this different stuff at a school where she is the typical fish out of water. But yeah, this was a very exaggerated. She's getting on a plane and going through security, and she puts her person, or she puts her suitcase in the bag. And then she walks through the thing, and they said, "Oh, you got to take everything out." And she pulls all these weapons out and stuff, which is something that would never happen in an airport. But it's played for laughs.
And she gets busted because of sun. There's 4 ounces of sunscreen.
Exactly. Yeah, that was not the severed hand that they also pull out of her bag. So
no.
But yeah, played for giggles. But yeah, she's back at school. We see the whole family again, which includes, is it Louis Guzman is what's the dad's name?
He's
Gomez.
Yep, and Gomez, Morticia.
Morticia is
Fred Armisen's back is Fester.
Right.
We do get, looks like Pugsley is going to be attending the school, because I was wondering who did the lightning. So that's Pugsley. He's kind of grown up, so he's going to probably attend as a freshman, which makes sense.
Right.
We are getting Lady Gaga, Thandie Newton, and Steve Buscemi as new characters. Apparently, the original season love interest is gone.
Okay,
and
the return of her roommate, the dandelion sparky head girl, whose name is Emma Myers, Enid.
Yeah,
her bubbly werewolf.
Fantastic.
I didn't even remember she was a werewolf. She says, so I'm going to have to catch myself back up. April's like, we could just watch again. I'm like we have time to watch another show.
Charlie, that's what recaps are for. Just watch a recap. I'm a big fan of that. Like Andor. Watch the recap, which we'll talk about very shortly.
Yeah, helped it out. So yeah, it'll be fun. So we're getting this in 2 parts, a la what we had with Karate Kid or Cobra Kai recently. So I think the first part drops in August. Second part drops closer to the holidays. I think it said no.
No, it's actually like a month later, September. So they're not making you wait long, but they're making you make sure you resubscribe.
Right. That is how. Yeah. But yeah. In the
they should have released it like August and October, because then you don't have that gap, because if it drops all at once, then essentially you could wait in September or August and then get when it drops. But maybe I'm wrong.
You can also just watch it all in beginning of October in spooky season, because it'll all be out. But you know what? Netflix has other programming, and again, we all play a little bit of streaming roulette, pick something up,
Yep.
drop something. So yeah, it all happens.
Or just use a virtual card, and then it can't resub with the virtual card, which is great. So then they'll say apply new credit card. I'm like, oh, good. Did you know that, Charlie? Use a virtual credit card.
Isn't that stealing? No, I'm just kidding. But yes, that's not a bad.
It's a great way to avoid it if you don't want to resubscribe.
I mean, I just keep track of stuff in my catalog or in my calendar. Because if I subscribe to something and then I go 28 days later and I say cancel something, that's what I do.
Charlie breaks out the wall calendar and he puts a reminder and he goes, check calendar on his phone. Remind me to check calendar on my wall. And then
oh my gosh. There you go. While Todd's stealing things off with Bitcoin. All right. So the Fantastic Four is getting a prequel comic to their upcoming film. Now, this is, it says, will this open the door to MCU comics? There is precedence of this in the past during a lot of the early MCU movies, including The Incredible Hulk, Captain America, The First Avenger. I believe probably at least one of the Iron Man movies, there were MCU comics that would focus on those characters and expand that. And I believe they were also considered part of the chronology, but that's probably debatable. But I enjoy this. So we got an image here of our characters as they appear in the film fighting the Mole Man's monster, a la an homage to the original issue of the Fantastic Four back in 1961. So let's see. Yeah, similarly titled The Fantastic Four for Steps #1, the prequel set 4 years prior to the events of the film. And it has been purported that the film itself will have a time jump because we've seen from the trailer that Sue is with child. And then it's also said that Franklin, who is the child, plays a role in the film later on with Galactus. Because
is it going to be like a fast baby? Like baby's born. Oh, he's aged 5 to 10 years immediately.
Like
that's his ability.
It was it was a Robin Williams movie where he did that, which I just
Junior?
Jack something.
Jack.
Yeah, Jack. He was Jack, or the baby from Species, who turns into a lizard. Well, we don't want
Everybody loves a fast-growing baby. Yeah,
fast-growing baby. Like they don't grow fast enough. But yeah, I'm assuming this is dropping. I'm skimming July 2nd. So a few weeks before the movies. I'll go pick this up, and support my local comic shop or buy it digitally, because I'm excited, and I welcome other stories, whether it's canonical or not. Then nothing is canonical in comics. Everything is always all over the place.
Great creators on this book, though. Matt Fraction, Mark Buckingham. Yes. So at this point, I mean, I don't mind them doing this. I don't mind saying, "Oh, this is parts of the Fantastic Four we never got to see." And it doesn't have to be a miniseries. It doesn't have to be anything else. We get this in the comic, and that can inform, if you're interested, read the comic, which is great. Gets people in the comic shops, right?
Right.
Which people have said,
yes.
Hey, I go to the comic book shops, and they're nothing like the movie. So it's like, this is a way to do that. Maybe Marvel needs to do more of this. Have like the 616, the Ultimate, and then maybe they say, this is the MCU tier. And if you want more stories, of course, Marvel has to let them do that because they say, well, we can't do that because we're bringing that character in 5 years or something like that.
In the comics, they don't have those strictures. They actually want to get people to read comics. And you will get people that have a wider interest. And I'm sure even if you look at the numbers on Marvel Unlimited or some, you'll see those titles spike. And so hopefully that'd be the case. So it was funny. I looked at the headline for this next one. I thought Madam Web was going to have a spinoff with Sydney Sweeney. What is this film all about that she's in? So
this is really weird, and things like this don't typically happen this fast. But there's a new game that just came out called Split Fiction. This company has made games specifically for co-op play, which is great. And even if you don't own a copy of the game, it's amazing. Like I could play this with you, Charlie. I think maybe I could. But basically,
even if I don't own it?
When you play it, you get your friend who wants to play with you gets to play for free with you as long as you're playing. So online, but it's a co-op game. And this one is a silly story. It's about 2 authors who are going to a publisher. One is a science fiction writer. One is a fantasy writer. They go into this publisher and say, we're going to making a deal to get published. Well, then this is where the plot gets stupid. And I even pointed out, but it's dumb, but it makes total sense when you think about it. The publisher says, well, yeah, we're going to publish you, but just step in these cubes. They'll make your stories come to life. And it's basically a flim flam where they're actually going to steal the stories from the authors
out of their brain.
But somehow the two authors who are exact opposites, one's grumpy sci-fi
couple.
lady, and then the other one's fantasy British happy lady, they get merged in the same bubble where they're now merging fantasy and science fiction.
It's like
through this mission.
So is it like Wednesday? One of them's grumpy and one of them's happy, but they have to work
A
together.
lot like that, yep. And they're basically sucked into the world. It combines fantasy and science fiction. They have to go through to break this because this publishing company is bad. And while I'm explaining, it sounds pretty dumb. It's fun. It's fanciful. Yeah. They do all of the tropes you think of, and it's really, really fun. Really great game, and it's done really well. And I think this is pretty cool. And the fun thing about this is Sydney Sweeney's going to be in it, so she could play the very happy-go-lucky fantasy writer, or she could play against type and play the grumpy one, science fiction writer. And this is also going to be directed by John M. Chu, who just did Wicked, which was a huge success. So the script writers, this is going to be written by Deadpool and Wolverine screenwriter too.
Oh man, okay, so it'll be a lot of effing and jeffing, and get to see Sydney Sweeney have a dirty mouth.
I think it's going to be a lot of jokes. It's going to balance the they're going to be self-irreverent, and they're going to be basically make fun of like tropes and things. They'll probably have elements of this where it's like, oh, things like, hey, there's a troll from this, or maybe, hey, that looks like a Star Wars vehicle, and they maybe play around with it, or maybe that's Halo. So I think this is going to be very fun if it happens, and we'll see if it moves forward. They have another movie by the same production company based on the previous game they made. It's called It Takes Two. It's about a couple. It's kind of like Parent Trap, where a couple who is about to get divorced get thrown into like a magical world where they have to learn to get along. And maybe by going through that, they stay married. But it's a very fun game despite divorce. Yeah. But very cool.
Divorce.
We'll see if this happens. But I mean, the fact that you got these names on it, Sydney Sweeney, we love her to pieces, but she, outside of that one movie she did with Glenn Powell, not really a big hit. So she wants to have something that's a vehicle that will really send her up the
she wants
the stars.
She didn't really feel that being in Madam Web was a boon to her career.
I mean, you're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed by so many good things, Charlie. She just got overlooked.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of things that we don't know how they're going to go, apparently Lost Carlton Cuse is working on a mysterious Star Wars show. Isn't everybody? Todd, aren't you working on a mysterious Star Wars show? Isn't that the mysterious part?
Yes, it's the mysterious story of the script that never got developed.
Right. Exactly. So you and I both enjoyed Lost, and I know we had a conversation about this not that long ago. You were able to catch Lost at the end where you didn't have to do all the waiting and wondering.
I think I watched the first season, fell off, then came back for the last two seasons. So I heard it was good again. That's when I came back in.
That little weird part. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. But this is coming out of, it says just when you thought the barrage of Celebration was dying down. I didn't know if this happened at Celebration, but apparently not. Yes, reportedly working on a Star Wars series along with his son, Carlton Cuse. This comes from the In Snyder. It's funny, I just discovered this website recently. If the show comes to fruition, be following in the footsteps of another Lost alum, J.J. Abrams, who of course gave us the prequels. Beyond that, we know nothing. Okay, so we've now told you the news part. But I would say Carlton Cuse has worked on Lost, Bates Motel, which we enjoyed very much. The Strain, which you ended up seeing, looked great. Jack Ryan, the parts of it I saw that were great. Lock and Key, I think you and I covered that.
Good show. Yep.
Pulse, which I'm not familiar with, but
was that the Stephen King based on the book where people went crazy because of the phones?
I don't
sent out a thing. Okay.
I don't recall. But anyway, son Nick Cuse has worked on The Leftovers, Watchmen, and Station 11, which I enjoyed very much because it was set in Michigan. So, it was a post-apocalyptic set in Michigan.
Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, his collaborator in Lost, Damon Lindelof, he unfortunately had a bad experience in Star Wars. Like, he pitched an idea and they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to do it. And then they said nope. And so, So based on this information, Charlie, what is your percent of this actually happening?
That's got to be the new game, percent to completion with Star Wars.
Yes.
Based on the fact that there is very little information, I will give this less than 20%.
I'll give this 35% because I kind of getting to feel like they finally are getting better about what they want to do in Star Wars, where previously it was like, we don't know, give us all your ideas and we'll see what happens. Oh, and then you know what? If it doesn't work out, we'll just make more Clone Wars.
You know
That's
what?
our backup plan.
And they, you know what? And while you may not enjoy it, people, you like I said, I see these people on TikTok or whatever and Instagram that Mark engages with, they lose their shit over it. So, but yes, I agree with you that
There
it's
are
not.
literal dozens of people who are dedicated to Clone Wars. I understand that.
Oh, you know what? We should absolutely have you on for one of these hot takes so that you can episodes of Holocron, so you can take the heat off of me.
But you can't challenge it. I just say it, and you guys can't even respond. You can look horrified.
That's exactly what happened with our guest host, and I'm drawing a blank on her name. I apologize. Very nice young lady, but I said I thought the prequels were kind of unnecessary, and her jaw dropped. She was just blown away. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? We will. Yeah. Again, with Star Wars, it's turned into a game of believe it when you literally see it, not if you read production scopes or anything.
Ripley,
it's when you're watching it.
Star Wars, believe it or not. That's what we're gonna call it.
Exactly. Very
That's
good.
our new
All right.
title. Any Star Wars story, we're going to do Star Wars, believe it or not.
Star Wars, believe it or not. I like it. All right. Well, that takes us out of the news. We are moving along, or I'm moving along because Todd, you've been there the whole time. I don't know why we don't bust in the Geek Easy. I guess I'm just more comfortable here in my studio.
They gave me the keys, Charlie.
Oh, well, that was the first mistake. All right. My Uber XXQ is pulling up. Its Q is for questionable because he only has an AM radio and it happens to be playing this very familiar advertisement.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Thunderdome. Oh, no, we aren't. We are sitting in the location that has now moved to the Thunderdome. That's the Geek Easy.
Ouch.
Tina gave us a good leasing space. We took it over. So, Charlie, we are our own management. We can't blame anybody except for us. And then we can just hate the customers.
But we will. We already do. You know, it'd be a great job, but it wasn't for the flipping customers. Isn't that the classic? All right. In the finest tradition of Todd show, you've watched one of 3 available episodes of Andor that all dropped at the same time. So talk to me about it in season 2.
Yeah, Andor season 2. I did watch a recap just to make sure because I really did enjoy the show. I will say not a fan of the first half of the show. Season 1, I thought it got better once he was on the planet and then he went through his process through jail. I thought that was but they laid the foundation of this is the world we live in. Totally get it. First time Star Wars has really done that before, which is great. Yeah. Showing the oppression of what the Empire actually is doing to the citizens versus blowing up planets with a big laser beam. So with Andor season 2, it's a fast forward 1 year. Mm-hmm. And then we essentially are opened up with 3 storylines that are happening. We have Andor going undercover. We have I guess it's a wedding
betrothal
party gonna happen, arranged marriage between the high muckety mucks. And then we have the rebel family on a new planet that are basically masquerading as farmers.
Andor's people. So the people he rescued said they all escaped the planet together the previous season. So I will say first and foremost, I want that jacket Andor is wearing. That is a hot ticket.
You mean where he's dressing as pilot?
Yeah. I like that. I like the red highlights. But all right. Well, with 2 other episodes to watch, obviously I'm not going to say a lot. First impressions?
I'm really enjoying it because I'm glad that we're through all of the setup and now we know that there are different groups doing different things. It is interesting with Andor and what he's trying to do now. He's getting into his spy mode, which is pretty cool. And I loved the opening where he was involved because we basically, even though he's pretty talented, the funny thing is he gets in a specific vehicle and does some things, goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, he's not.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yep.
It looked real, didn't look fake. It looked like the flight was awesome.
Yep.
I do hope we get a little more. And I think this season we're supposed to get more of like what they're actually going to do, which will require, espionage, explosions, and fun. And we are going to have the flim. I think this is the season, though, where we do get the more high muckety mucks, the society on Coruscant actually doing things. Right. Because it just felt like it's like, wow, this is really like a weird dysfunctional family.
Oh,
and we did get
Mon Mothma and all her people. Yeah. And Chandrilla, that's the planet. Yeah.
Yep. And then we also we did get touches on some of our friends from the Empire too, where they're doing things. We've got I'm waiting for the mom, the mom to show up again. The evil mom,
and she does.
Can't wait.
And she does.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they do. They handle that very deftly, and I think the second.
Oh,
episode.
Good.
Yeah, you will enjoy. Yeah, I would say tune in. And again, Andor drops. It's 3 episodes every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So for April and me, we watch 1, and then we watch the other 2 the next morning. So we're good to go. But that's over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
started the second episode, but I didn't get through it, so I just I'll just
Gotcha.
focus on one and I'll watch the rest later.
Yeah.
It's a show you can't just be you can't be distracted and do something while it's on.
Exactly.
very
Yeah,
good.
this is what. All right, I'll blast through this quick. I did doing a little comic reading. You know, there's not a ton of first run comics that I read, but I, especially non-Marvel, but I have been enjoying G.I. Joe, the Energon verse part of it. I did have the honor of talking to Larry Hama a little while ago, interviewed, which will be coming out on our spotlight. I'm actually reading his series right now. I did not mention that to him, but I love the classics. But these are fun. In the tradition of the silent issue of G.I. Joe, which came as issue number 21 back in 1984, we are getting a string of, and we talked about this some months back, one-shots with different characters. And it's kind of interesting to figure out how these plug into the Energon universe, because they've given us 3 characters that have not been in what is now we're up to issue 6 of the Energon G.I. Joe. And in one of these that we talked about, they brought back a character who died in, I think, issue 3 so I'm kind of curious how that works. But I have read, I think there's 5 coming out. I've read Jinx, who is a female ninja character. Spirit, who is a Native American
good
tracker.
or bad in this? Jinx is a ninja character. That's right. Okay.
Jinx
I was trying to remember.
Jinx was featured in the Scarlet miniseries. So she was Scarlet's BFF, but we turned out that Scarlet is bad because they transposed the role of Scarlet and the Baroness to the other side in the Energon. So I take that back. Jinx, we've met. Spirit, he is a Native American tracker. And then Roadblock is the big, gigantic, heavy machine gunner dude. Each one of them has a mission. There are no words. There are no exclamations. But each one of them, they basically need to take out a Cobra-based threat. And there's a lot of sprinkling in of little Easter eggs of a vehicle you haven't seen before that came out. Like they had a couple of the Cobra snow vehicles that you didn't see until the late 80s in the Roadblock one. These were a lot of fun. I know Duke is coming out next, so that's a very established character. He's the main character in the Energon books. That's coming out. And I feel like there was another book, and maybe there's a total of 5. Oh, the first one was Beachhead, which is a character from a little bit later. He's from the 1986 series, but he's not been introduced in the main Energon in universe. So I'm curious how they're maybe looking to integrate these back in with the main book. So I think this is very fun. So I really dig on that. Get those Comixology, read it on your Kindle, or always visit your local comic shop if you can to support them. Free Comic Book Day is coming up this weekend. If you're listening to this when it comes out, this Saturday, May 3rd. So please get out there, support local. I know I have 3 shops here in Grand Rapids that I like, and I'm going to be visiting them all. So secondly, speaking of, and I'll probably be picking these up when I swing by, because I had my local comic shop guy, Argos Comics, where I have shopped since I was 10 years old. I often wear his shirt here on the show. But there was a series of variant covers. Todd's got one right there. And I don't know this artist, Chris Giarrusso, I believe his name is, who draws a very cool, and Todd, that is one that that I think I've already picked up. I do have that one as well. But I'm picking up 3 or 4 more of them that came out this past week that I had my guy order. There's a total of 15, and I have a space for 11 going straight across in my office. So I may try to pick up that many total. I have 4 right now, but it really does my heart happy. It's an homage to the 1985 through 1988. It's the official handbook to the Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition, where it's a long, unbroken image. Now, granted, I buy them and frame them. I'm not going to buy 2 of each so that I would put them back to back. I'm just going to frame one side, but I focused on characters that I really care about. So I picked the Thing cover, the Wonder Man, the Spider-Man, Mr. Fantastic, character. Hawkeye Hulk is one of them. Todd he's dropped it in our flow, which I don't know if that means you're going to see it, but I'm looking at it. But yeah, I actually have all these images also saved on my screensaver on both my desk and down here, and then also on my TV upstairs. So very super cool. But the style is, how would you describe the style if you were liking this something? It's kind of cartoonish, like Peanuts almost.
It's called, there's a style like more chibi, where the head is bigger.
There you go.
Bigger like hands and feet. There was the Marvel, there was the cartoon that used to be on. I forgot what it was, but it had like versions of those characters that have been out. But yeah, very, very much kid friendly. Looks cute.
I'm looking here. I've definitely the West Coast Avengers one, which has Silver Centurion, Iron Man, plus the Human Torch. The She-Hulk one I know I've gotten. Probably the one with Nightcrawler as well, and again the one with Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
The Nick Fury one, Daredevil.
It's pretty great.
So yeah, they're pretty great, and this does show them all the way through. But yeah, those are probably available at your local comic shop. They were a variant. You may have to jump around a little bit to find them, but also engage your local comic shop vendor and just ask them to order them. That's what my guy.
Yeah, they started coming out May 2nd, and they come through the
April
4:30.
April.
So yeah, April 30th. So that's when it ends. So yeah, if you missed out, you might miss out.
Yeah, but as I said, don't forget to definitely engage with your local comic shop guy or gal, and they might be able to help you out. So, all right, well, that takes us out of the Geek Easy. The time has come. Sound the trumpets. We are headed in to the 2025 Summer Movie Wager, guest starring Jonathan Sear. Let's do it.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting at the Thunderdome where the mutants been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week, we are going into our tradition of the Summer Movie Challenge Wager. We've been doing this for a long time. It is inspired by the Summer Movie Wager that you can check out online, but that is from basically the Totally Rad Show, where they started doing this, where we select the top 10 performing movies of the summer based on their box office performance. And it is like horseshoes. The closer you get, the better you do. So if you
Wait. So it's not horse shit? Because that's most of our guesses.
Well, that's what we will spout when we get in this. But we've done it for years. I won it one year.
Yes. And let's hold on a second here. Let's make mention that we're being joined by our buddy Jonathan.
That's right.
Sear, the original other secret friend. Yeah, so yes, Todd, I think John is the champion. Though I haven't cranked the numbers, I feel like you've won more than the rest of us. So I'm in the middle, Todd. You've won one time. And you're hoping
he's the defending champion.
No, I'm the defending.
Is he not? You won it from him?
No, I had to send it back to Charlie. No. I had to send it back. So as everyone, we've told the story a million times. We have a trophy we play for. It's a traveling trophy, which is a Prince Zizor that Charlie bought a million years ago. Charlie has it now, and we will be playing for that again this year. So the rules are very simple. I will say them to everyone to remind everybody. We pick 10 movies and rank them from 1 to 10 based on their overall box office from, well, what's the dates? It's May 2nd to Memorial Day weekend. So essentially, we're starting with Thunderbolts. Yep. You can pick one.
May 1st, yes.
Yes, you can pick one dark horse as a bonus 3 points if it places. So basically, if it gets any spot on the top 10, you get 3 points. Getting number 1 or number 10 dead on gets you 13 points each. 10 points for number 2 or 9 dead on. 2 through 9 dead on. 7 points if your pick was 1 spot away. 5 points if it's 2 spots away. 3 points if the movie is anywhere in the top 10. Basically, the top points scored in total wins. So there you go. That's the rules. That's how we go. And we are going to start from the bottom, going all the way to the top with our dark horse.
From the bottom to the top to the bottom to the top. It's 3 o'clock. LL Cool J. No?
No, it's actually 1:11 Central, Charlie. So with that, we'll start with our defending champion. Charlie will go to John, then me. So Charlie, what is your number dark horse?
Number dark horse. Well, this was a tough one because again, what I was looking at, I pulled some dude from I think IMDb, and then I tried to run comps on my own, and I just didn't know. So I came up with like 5 things that could have been the dark horse, and I don't have a lot of confidence in this one because I feel like it's a misnomer. Because maybe it's not as big as we thought, but I went with Karate Kid Legends not because it's a movie that came out over 40 years ago, and people's grandparents at this point watched, but it did have the Cobra Kai show, which I think spread at least the mythology of their universe. And it does have a young co-star. Don't remember the young man's name, but I did watch the trailer, or I watched an interview or something or other. And people do love kung fu fighting, as it were. The kicks, the punches, the what have you. So I would like to think it will at least do something. And again, I know a barometer that we've used is that, like, generally speaking, anything that makes less than 100 in an optimal year, less than 100 million domestic in that time period, will not be in the top 10. Of course, that got blown away by COVID. Because was it 2021? It was Shang-Chi that came out and like took number 1 in one weekend.
In August, yeah, it was an August release, a very rare August champion.
Shot up the top. So, yeah, so I'm going to roll the dice. And again, that movie comes out at the end of May. So if it has legs at all, it does have some time to grow. But we're also looking at, as we'll talk about here, a very congested summer. So I'm going to go with Karate Kid Legends as my DH.
And that's the blending. That's like the KKU, which is the Karate Kid expanded universe, which brings back Jackie Chan. We don't, the only one who's never returned has been Hilary Duff. So poor Hilary Duff. Never.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not Hilary Duff. Hilary Swank. Yes.
Oh, now Hilary Duff, that would be a top 5.
That's the Lizzie McGuire Karate Kid crossover.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think if you could see Lizzie McGuire basically kick Ralph Macchio in the nuts and just be like, no surrender, I think that it would be a bigger hit. That's
absolutely. Well, we've talked enough about a dark horse. Let's go to John's dark horse.
So I am going with a movie that has a lot of buzz to be a flop, but also feels like the kind of movie that could do all right. Has a big star, but who's also not looked at too greatly in the moment. I'm going to go with F1.
No.
Oh, yeah. That one, I don't know what to do with that one.
That's why it's in the wild card.
I really struggled.
Dark horse spot, because I said it could finish in the top 10 easily, or it could just die on the vine.
What was the last racing movie that did anything? Days of Thunder?
When I tried to do comps, I picked Days of Thunder, but then there was also the Ford and Ferrari.
Yeah, Ford versus Ferrari.
Did that do much?
It did well.
No,
it
was
117 million, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Ron Howard, Chris Hemsworth.
Blockbuster movie, but
yeah.
Or was that the Matt Damon one? Ferrari versus Ford. Was that Matt Damon? I can't remember.
No, it's not my scene. I don't know. But anyway,
okay.
All right, your turn. Extra. Do it.
Well, Charlie, this might be a weird one, but John and I last year, I believe, we went down to Thunder because we picked the same top 4.
Right, top 5.
But Charlie, you and I are picking the same dark horse. So I also picked Karate Kid. So we might be letting John get back in the window because we could be dooming ourselves. But yeah, I just don't know. This one could be. It's early in the summer. So it's May 30th, has a lot of weeks to do it. You get to a certain point, there's a lot of over the top stuff that it doesn't exactly appeal to a lot of other people, but it could appeal to 4 quadrants because of Cobra Kai. And that, I don't know, but that's why I put it there. Okay, let's go on to number 10, Charlie.
Well, I will absolutely say I do not have a ton of confidence in this one, but it's got a studio behind it that also has a mixed, because this is a Pixar film, I believe, or DreamWorks if DreamWorks still exists. Anyway, it's an animated slate. I don't know anything about it, which is why I almost really didn't want to include it. But I'm talking about Elio. Is that a Pixar? Or
Pixar.
It is a Pixar.
It's a Pixar.
Pixar. Did you call it Pixar?
Pixar.
They've had some duffs. It's no longer a sure thing, and it's new IP, I think, which is dangerous. Without a doubt, it's dangerous. So yeah, I think, but they've had flops. Did they, they took a stab at, and it was controversial, but they took a stab with Buzz Lightyear a couple years back, and that was a turd, but for different reasons. So I just don't put a ton of stock in new IP from Pixar the same way I wouldn't put a ton of stock of in live action Disney movies as we've seen.
Their last original IP, Elemental, did do very well. It launched horribly, but it ended up doing very well, and I think it actually made the top 10. So there you go, Charlie.
I think you're right. All right. Okay, what about you, John?
Well, every year I make a spot for a horror or thriller type movie to sneak into the top 10. And my number 10 is going to be the Final Destination.
Ooh. Final destination.
The final destination, and the final destinating.
I think I missed that on my list. That's May 16th, so early.
Yeah.
Early film.
We love those movies. Extraordinarily formulaic, very stupid, but we do a 5-pack every October because they're all 90 minutes and it's the same plot.
I have never seen any of them, John.
Me
So
neither.
we'll see how it goes.
But I know they do okay. I know that there's always a surprise summer
Yes.
movie
Yeah.
like that doesn't always make the top 10, but threatens. But that
And
one
there's-
has it's kind of funny, but it is a franchise that people do
Yeah.
like. It's
That's
their
true.
Yeah.
version of dumb fun.
Right. All right.
Yeah, we actually have a couple horror films this year. This summer. I'll be interested to see if any of them take, because most
Yeah.
of them are old franchises.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. Okay, so
iffy, yeah.
for number 10, I picked The Bad Guys. So I said, kids movies do pretty good. I think this is an DreamWorks, and I think the last one did pretty well. So I'm going with Bad Guys number 10.
Is that George
2.
Clooney as a fox or something?
Sam,
like that?
it's Sam Rockwell. Yeah, Sam Rockwell. Yes, very cute. Basically, it's just good. They were bad guys, then became good guys. Now they have to do bad things because they're basically going to be killed. So that's what happens with kids films. Okay, let's go to number 9.
All right,
Charlie,
well,
back to you.
Kind of with a heavy heart, because I'm not a fan of the franchise. I'm the only one here who doesn't enjoy this franchise. But I think it's got a lot of va-va-va-voom that people will go see it. And that would be Ballerina, spinning off of your beloved John Wick. I know people like the punch 'em ups. They like the explosions and the weird, I'm going to jump from a grenade and protect myself with the door and just ridiculousness. So people enjoy it. They will go see it. The question is how much they will pump into it. So we will find out. That's number 9.
John.
My number 9 is The Bad Guys 2.
Ooh.
All right.
For all the reasons Todd said about why it's number 10 for him.
I think I'm going to be in trouble.
I don't know what the first one did, to be honest. I don't know. Did anybody
I
look?
believe it was surprisingly well received and did all right.
I'm already feeling like I'm going to regret it, but yes, I did, because my lack of familiarity. Hold on, I've got a little sidebar on mine that has some number. Well, it has some estimate. You know what? No, I didn't. I had a list of comps.
It did 97 domestic, 250 worldwide, 23 million opening, and that was in 2022. So still kind of COVID.
Yeah, maybe
restricted.
But that was when it was a new IP.
Yeah.
So now it's already known. And movies are at least a little better now than they were in 22.
As far as performance, yeah.
So you'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right.
So for me, Charlie, I also picked Ballerina.
No, I thought, you know what? You didn't pick with your heart. I admire that, because you're a wicker. So you didn't say this is going to take it. So good for you. Is thinking with your head, not your heart.
I just realized I'm in a weird. Well, I think we are all now in a weird demographic where we just cannot think with our hearts, because Charlie, you're not into kids films. So because of that, you don't always know like what the zeitgeist is. I'm far away from that too. So, and then John, sometimes you're just not into certain franchises because they have no interest in you, but like the Fast and the Furious films, I have no interest in those films, but I know they're big and I have other ones in here. Yeah. We'll see. Okay. That moves us to number 8.
Number 80, and this is one I have to admit varying degree of confidence in it, but the numbers I looked at and then maybe some of the stuff. So F1, I thought, people do, and again, maybe it's because I work for a company that's based out of Indianapolis, and the 500 is very big with people I work with. So I know that there is that entire culture that really enjoys that kind of stuff. And they may pour out to the movies to see it. So at least that's my hope. So we'll see. And Chris Hemsworth. I don't. You said the star is. Did he do something?
This is Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
This is
You Ford and Ferrari had Hemsworth. What did Brad
Hemsworth
Pitt
was
do?
one of them? Yeah.
What did Brad Pitt do? Is he in trouble with somebody?
Just people are mad about what's come out with like treatment with Angelina and stuff.
Boy.
I don't know if there's smoke to it or not, but
could be. Often.
Yeah, I can't tell you what, I don't know the last movie he really did that was a box office draw.
Was it Bullet Train?
Like World War Z.
Bullet Train, I think.
Bullet Train was okay. That was about 100 million. I think it ended up in the top 10, I think. But I like that movie, but did not like. Yeah,
will probably do well worldwide because F1
Yeah.
racing
Yes.
is huge
It's
international.
huge.
There you
It's growing here. People love those like
Oh.
series, and people are all about it. But yeah, I don't know in the U.S. if it's still like at that tipping point. So, and we only do, and folks that are listening, we only do domestic. We don't do
Correct.
worldwide. So, yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, Charlie has F1, and hopefully it doesn't F him in the
Yeah,
one.
right. Big time.
Does that make sense? I don't know
It
what's
does-
the one
it
hole.
does- it
The
does
pee
to
hole.
me. Oh, yeah, that is how you get an STD test. Not that I would have any reason
Yeah.
to know that.
Okay, John, what's your number 8?
Well, let's just switch gears real quick and make it more family again. With
please.
Elio is my number 8.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
I did
okay.
put Elio in. And just to kind of piggyback on what you were talking about with your not picking with your heart, I don't have Ballerina in the top 10 for me at all.
Wow. And you're a Wicker too. You're a
And
recent
I like the Wick movies, and I'm going to see Ballerina, but I don't think
Spinoffs are hard.
Yeah,
Spinoffs are
Very
hard to judge,
Because
but
you're-
John Wick is in it, so
Yeah.
that's the one that's like.
You're counting on people being able to make that connection and saying, but again, yeah, you're right. The trailers feature him, but
Yeah.
otherwise, if someone isn't aware of that, they might look at it and say, no, I don't want, it's a girl and blah, blah. I mean, or whatever. It's like, I just don't buy it, or, this and that. You never know.
She has not had a breakout like success on her own yet. This is like her first real solo outing. She was in that Marilyn Monroe movie, so you could see a lot more of her if you want. She was awesome in the last James Bond film. Really loved her in that.
Right.
But
I
beyond that,
Knives Out.
Yes. Right. She played the main character in that.
But
I
again,
always forget because she looked very frumpy in that. So yeah. Yes.
Great expression. Calling a woman frumpy.
Okay. So no, my 8 pick is also Elio. I think it will do well, but I think it'll be one of those late bloomers where it'll take the whole summer for it to really it'll have a long tail, as they say. And I don't know if Elio does, but the movie does look very cute. I'll give them, but I will say this: science fiction themed animation films do horribly. They just do. There's never been like Treasure Planet.
Well, yeah.
What else? See, we don't have any.
Something
Megamind?
Planet Titan. Oh yeah, Megamind.
Oh, Megamind. Yeah.
Was it Monsters versus?
I mentioned the
Monsters versus Aliens did pretty well. That was a pretty good comedy.
Family versus Robots.
Marsh Needs Moms was one, or
there was that movie on Netflix that I really liked. It was called something Marshalls versus the Machines.
Yeah,
that was really good, but it wasn't in theaters. It was good, very funny. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I had to pick. I'm gonna probably be very heavy. I will say, at least with family picks this summer. So that's probably I'm giving a little bit away. So let's get to number 7.
Perhaps.
Charlie.
All right. Well, here is a franchise that sunk like a stone and underperformed a couple of summers ago. Has a lead actor that I don't care for, but I do enjoy.
I know what this
series.
is.
It's Mission Impossible, the final reckoning, or Mission Impossible 8, as I put it in my bracket. Yeah, it was highly touted back in 23, and it kind of crapped the bed. So I don't see that that's going to improve.
I think it was screwed by Barbie.
Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer. Yeah, and this one's coming out.
It's coming out
Memorial Day weekend,
which is, you know what, Memorial Day weekend, not a bad time to come out because it's taken on Karate Kid is it Lilo and Stitch? Is Memorial Day weekend, because that's Memorial Day weekend is the 25th, right?
Well, it's really counter programming if you look at those two films, but still.
Well, without Barbenheimer and a May opening instead of, I think it was July.
Yeah.
And it's not going to lose a lot. Yeah, it doesn't have part 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I mean, it's not really taking on a similar movie until Ballerina. So I think that being early and kind of doing its own thing, that's going to help. But I think that's a good place for it. John, what do you have as number 7?
Number 7, I have the Thunderbolts.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, Marvel has been sucking it. I mean,
I think it'll still. I think that I have the top 7 doing pretty well. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of the bottom end of the bigger money makers. But
okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. What you got?
Well, number 7, I also have Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, Charlie. So we're doing a lot of similar picks.
The final reckoning. The reckoning.
Yeah, and I think the movie will do well, but the Mission Impossible films just don't do $300 million domestic. They maybe do 225.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to face a lot of competition this year that are going to bank probably
That's gonna
300 million plus
it's
and
gonna
beyond.
yeah, it's gonna cut back that longevity. So all right, well, we're up to 6.
Six.
Yes.
This was a tough one for me, but it was funny because I was talking over with my my advisor, which would be April, and I'm like, hey, there was this generation that loved this in animation. So a live action transitioned of How to Train Your Dragon. I knew a lot of people that absolutely loved the hell out of this. Going back 10 years, and, including, my stepkids, absolutely. Hoping that will transition that into live action enjoyment. I have no interest. I don't know that we'll see it. We see a lot of most everything, but some things we skip. But I think there's a decent chance it could resonate just based on the old member berries. We'll see.
John, what's your number 6?
Well, my number 6 is the Mission Impossible 8.
Ooh,
I think it's a little slightly better than maybe
Right,
you're
right.
sending it out to be, but not a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. For number 6 for me, I picked Thunderbolts. I think it'll do very well for what it is. It's basically still a lot of unknowns. How many people saw the Black Widow film? How many people in this was? Because I mean, outside of Bucky, people probably will not be able to say, "Oh, I know that person," or "Why is Elaine in this movie?"
Right. Well, you have 3 members of the Thunderbolts all came from the Black Widow movie, which was not in theaters.
Well, it was the first Disney Plus, like, only at home.
Yeah, too, because it was COVID central in 2020. Yeah. So
but Charming, I think it's going to do well because it's going to get buzz. It sounds like all the things really people are very excited about, and I've loved the marketing for it. So I don't know. I think that'll do very well. So we move on to middle of the road, number 5.
I agree, and I don't have to say a lot about it because I actually just did. But my number 5 is Thunderbolts. It's got the Marvel name slapped to it. Marketing buzz is strong. Early social media buzz is strong. Definitely, I put that in the middle of the pack at minimum.
John.
At number 5, I have How to Train Your Dragon.
Ooh, look at that!
Oh, there you go.
Oh, it's going to be hotly contested. My goodness.
Yes. Well, for me, number 5, I'm the first one that's going to talk about this movie. I have Superman.
Ooh.
The reason I have Superman at 5 is because I think, despite of what I feel, I think this movie will annoy some people, will be the best thing ever for other people, and other people will just be, I don't care about Superman anymore. So I don't know if this movie is going to be able to overcome all of the baggage that Superman has. I hope it does, but I hope it does good enough that it says, yeah, this was well received overall and made enough money that, hey, James Gunn might know what he's doing. But it could go the other way and it'd be like, wow, they dipped too deep into the weird and odd and stuff that may work for like unknowns like Guardians of the Galaxy or some of his other stuff he's done. So I don't know, but I'm getting 5. I have hope, but even then, Superman has not always been hopeful on the screen.
The baggage is very challenging. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
No doubt about it at all. All right. So is that
number 4?
Circling back to number 4. Again, I was challenged with this because it's member berries, and this goes even generation further back. So this is my kids when they were, in 2002, 2003 is Lilo and Stitch. Now they did have a fun little half-seat trailer. Was it the Super Bowl that they had Stitch running around on the field at halftime? That's cute. It's a buzz. And again, this is me trying to think with my head, not my heart. I don't give a shit about this movie. I don't care to see it. It's not my vibe. But does that pull in those 25 to 30 age parents who are taking the kid? Hey, this is something that I love. So it's like us taking our kids to Star Wars and them saying, I don't give a shit about this, but still buying that extra ticket. So that's my hope. We'll see.
All right. Number 4, John.
Number 4 is, I went with Superman at number 4. There were, as you know, there's a couple of movies, other superhero movie that it's basically competing with. And I want Superman to do really well, but I don't have the confidence that it will.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
I think this is a fair slotting for it. in that somewhere anywhere from 3 to 6, I think, is where it could finish this summer.
I think so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope this is not like a people write it off, but it's also in a very competitive window.
Yeah.
That is a problem with a lot of these movies that are coming through. Who's going to eat whose lunch? And, you know, thankfully, at least movie tickets aren't being tariffed, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And thank God we're not doing worldwide, because apparently China says we don't want your movies anymore either.
Oh, I know. God. And I have also noticed in the last few weeks how much more political our show has gotten, because we do a lot of digs.
Well, when they start getting politics into our crap, that's when I get mad. I don't want tariffs in my crap, like action figures and fun things. And
I know.
But they forced it.
Every action figure site is popping up with anywhere from 5 to 8%. They're going to have to slap on stuff, which sucks. Anyway, let's move on.
So I picked at number 4 the first time this movie will be mentioned. That is Fantastic Four: First Steps. While I believe this is a franchise that I think their direction is amazing, great cast, this is also Fantastic Four has been out several times before. Maybe it's going to be maybe it's the Spider-Man 3, maybe Spider-Man, you know, where it's like the third attempt is well beloved and everything like that. I just don't know if people care about the Fantastic Four, or they're tired of it, or they're tired of Marvel. I don't know, but I think it will do well. I just don't think it's going to be like, oh my God, it beats everything under the sun. But I think 4 makes sense with Fantastic Four, but also has first in the title. So I might have played that wrong.
4 first. 4 versus 1 is 3, so it should be your third place. You didn't do the math right?
No. So we're at number 3, the top 3.
Well, this was a tough one. I danced back and forth with my top 3, actually my top 5. But I went with Superman, because the same thing. I think it looks terrific, but you're right. It's, you know, we're talking about a property that's pushing 100 years old. Has been done great, has been done poorly. You know, it's a comic property. People that doesn't really help or hurt. But yeah, and it's James Gunn, but some people get what that means and some people don't. So it's really a toss-up. I don't know. But I know it'll be top 5, just like we're all kind of saying.
Yeah.
John, number 3.
Number 3, I've got Fantastic Four. Because Fantastic Four, and you got first in the title, it should be 3, like Charlie said. So, you know, I did the math right.
You did the math. You mathed when I did not math.
I think that I know people that don't care about Fantastic Four. That like you were talking about before, it just doesn't. They don't do anything for them. Mm-hmm. But I also think if Thunderbolts does well, like I think it could build some positive momentum for Fantastic Four.
With the even though the window's a little further apart,
I mean, it'll still do okay. It's a Marvel movie in summer. It's you know, there's enough there that it will, you know, finish somewhere in these numbers we're throwing out. But I think it'll do better than Superman. I don't know. I've seen the trailers; they don't really grab me. I don't know, and maybe you guys have talked about it before, but I don't like how the Thing looks. I think he's weird looking.
I thought he looked pretty good.
He's certainly more spot on than the movie that nobody except for me saw, and I took a bullet to see that one in 2015. It was painful.
Well, regardless,
really all of them were off in the
John, are you more of a Chickless Thing fan?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds silly to say he just looks really fake, but it just something about it just hit me wrong. You know, it's like some sort of
I was trying to pick up my thing so I could show you. I have a really nice.
Charlie, don't put your thing down. Put your thing down. Put it back in your pocket.
I wouldn't say I'm more of a Chickless fan. It's just something about the way.
How about the Roger Corman thing from 1987?
I'm more of a Kmart
1994
thing Halloween costume fan.
Oh, where you've got the mask and you got the shirt.
the mask,
the polyester shirt.
The thing is, the Thing is one of my absolute favorite Marvel characters. But anyway, we're not talking about me.
Well, number 3 for me, Fantastic Four.
Yes, fair. All right.
Number 3. All right. So, for me, my number 3 is How to Train Your Dragon.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it. I just feel like these live action films are finally going. Disney has done all of them, and now everybody else is doing them. And I think wow. And it's, this one is the rare one where the live action is made by the guy who did the original one. So it's not like he doesn't understand how it ticks. So, and it looks really good. So it's not like it looks bad. It looks really good, but we will see. And there's a lot of kids that just don't watch old stuff. So maybe this is their first time seeing it. And parents that don't like animation may say, hey, this looks cool. And so it might hit both of those. So we'll see. All right.
Yes,
we're in
indeed
the
we will.
top 2, the deuce. Drop a
The
deuce, Charlie.
deuce. Oh, well, that's funny you should mention that because that's what this film did with this previous installment. I don't even know what the hell it's called. I have to look because I have the column on the one side. We're talking about Jurassic World
Rebirth.
number 4, Rebirth. The last film, and again we're going back to 2023, which also was Indiana Jones, was a summer of sequels that took a dump, and this was one of them. But we have a named star this time around, even though we had Chris Pratt and in the previous one, and they brought back the people from the old movie, and I think they thought that was a recipe for success, and it wasn't. I think people still really like her. I don't think she's had any real serious screw ups in her public life, so people still think she's fantastic. So I'm banking on her, but again, I did a lot of back and forth because I wanted to be like, it's going to be Superman, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four are going to be the top 3. But I just, like you, I just don't think that's realistic. So I think this might carry it forward. People still love dinosaurs. They like the same plot of the dinosaurs won't hurt us, so we can go there, and then all of a sudden they're eating us, and we're surprised why they're eating us.
I think they're trying to harvest them for cancer, or trying to get the plants for like
they're trying to
curing diseases.
Cancer? That's just cruel. Why do the dinosaurs need cancer?
Charlie, cancer hates everybody. So you know what? Why not share it with the dinosaurs too?
Oh my gosh, here you go. Just squirt it in their mouth like with a syringe. Bloop. A fire hose.
Exactly. Well, how else are you going to cure cancer if they don't have cancer? So you have to give the dinosaurs cancer first, and then they,
so rude. It's
yes,
so rude.
yes.
Like anyway.
Okay, John, clean this act up.
I didn't know that was the plot. I might have to switch these around, but
see.
So
Right.
My number 2, Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm banking on the dinosaurs. If you just figure it out, what I haven't said yet.
Right.
But yeah, I think Lilo and Stitch.
Gotcha. Well, oh boy.
Good pick.
So
okay.
I've got the heir apparent. Oh, okay, John, go ahead, or Todd, go ahead.
So my number 2 is the dinosaurs. I dislike these movies. I've only really seen the first one back in the day, and I have no interest with more dinosaurs. But I know kids love dinosaurs.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but it's really not made for. It's not that kind of dinosaur movie. It's not really for kids. Because it's not like, because the dinosaurs.
Are there any other dinosaur movies like The Land Before Time, The Good Dinosaur? They don't make a lot of dinosaur movies for anybody.
I feel like kids like to play with plastic dinosaurs. I don't think kids are going to see these movies because they're violent.
Dinosaurs, Charlie, in the 5 and below, dinosaurs still top 5.
Oh, 5 and below it goes up. Oh my God. Well,
okay.
All right.
Number 1 with a bullet. Here we go.
Number 1 slot, and I will admit that this was potentially emerging of the head and the heart, but I love Fantastic Four, so that's my number 1. I know John's shaking his head like you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I know it, but it does have going against it that it has previously bad movies. But the last one of those was a decade ago. Maybe people don't know. It is Marvel. It's had great buzz. People seem to be very excited. I think it looks great. They're doing a lot of things right that got screwed up in the early 2000s, like Galactus, who's the villain. It has a female Silver Surfer, which people think is new, but it's not. But it does have wonderful Ruth from Ozark. I know. Am I the only one who enjoys Ozark? John, you've seen it, haven't you?
I have not seen Ozark.
Oh my God. Well, she's
nope, I haven't either.
She's absolutely terrific when she's not fighting the Wolfman. So,
John's like, Jason Bateman can't be a bad guy.
Yeah, Michael Bluth. That's it.
Yeah, he was a complicated bad guy. But anyway, that's my. Oh, and Pedro Pascal is very hot. Let's face it.
He's like,
and he's got nothing to do now, and he's got nothing to do now that the Last of Us, after the last episode. Oh, sorry.
Right. We did a spoiler cast last time, but yes, everybody. Yep. Yeah. Well, he like I said, he gets one day of work on the Mandalorian. We have to take the helmet off, and then it's some other guy. But yeah, exactly. I know. I think he's very hot. I don't think he's very hot in that way. I think he's very buzzworthy. So.
Great. Yeah. Always bet on him, but he has not had like the breakout box office yet. He did that awesome movie with Nicolas Cage, which I thought was amazing. Which John, did you ever see that? The Unbearable Weight
Weight
of
of
Being
No.
Awesome, or what was it called?
Massive Talent.
That's right, with Nicolas Cage.
No.
You'd love it.
It was a good
Absolutely
time.
hilarious.
It was a good time.
Great
Yeah.
movie with Nicolas Cage being full on Nicolas Cage. Very funny. Yep.
That's always
So, John, number one.
Well, yeah. Well, no
I think I know where
spoiler
you're
here,
picking.
You said it. But the Jurassic World dinosaurs, Jurassic World Rebirth, it's got a lot of buzz.
Oh, we're gonna be
And
so
the
close.
dinosaurs, and ScarJo taking over. Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Start your engines, dinosaurs. Whatever.
Start your engines.
Dinosaurs? Yeah.
Di-
Dino
I
Racers?
have only
Dino
seen
Racers.
the first 2 Jurassic Park movies. I didn't see anything
Jurassic Park on the
last-
beach?
Jurassic Park, the old series, or Jurassic?
Yeah,
World,
Jurassic
this
Park
new
and The
series?
Lost
Okay.
World, and that was it.
Okay, wow.
I didn't watch
See,
any of the Chris Pratts, but
we
they're
kept
always
up-
up there.
We
and-
kept up with all of them, and they've
Yeah.
gone. Now dinosaurs live on the land, and they're clone people, and they did a lot of weird, like dumb shit in the last 2 movies. There's no doubt. So
Yeah.
that's what makes me wonder. So we'll see.
All
Well-
right.
It's rebooting it for the 3rd time. So
Yes, 3rd time's the reboot charm.
yeah,
Rebootery. There you
instead
go.
of
There's the name of
rebirth,
the
you
episode.
reboot, the rebooting, the rebootering.
The rebootering.
Das Boot in
Das reboot.
Das
Yes,
reboot.
Das
Write it
Reboot.
down. Write
Yes.
it down. Das reboot.
Yes. Okay, so that leads into the last pick of this competition. I have Lilo and Stitch number 1.
Wow, it's a big switch. It's a big switch. It's a big difference.
So I did write down where we're at. So I just give you some fun facts, folks, as we're going through this. We have no picks this year that we all share at the same slot. We have. I'm looking here.
All
Well,
three.
no, all three. All three. We have no consensus picks. We
Okay.
do have Pixar Ilio. Charlie, you and I have got those picks. We've got the same. Well, do we have the same dark horse? I thought we do. Yeah, we have the same
Yeah, we
dark
do.
horse, Charlie.
Those 2.
But other than that, those are, I believe, the only 2
wow.
where we have them shared. So let me just, and I'll read these. Well, if you guys want to go back just to make sure, we'll check. So we'll all do. So Charlie,
Run
go
down.
through your dark horse through number 1, just to make sure I got these right.
Okay, I'll say them, but I won't say the numbers. Karate Kid, Elio, Ballerina, F1, Mission Impossible, How to Train Your Dragon, Thunderbolts Asterisk, Lilo and Stitch, Superman, Jurassic 4, Fantastic Four. 4 and 4 is 8. So I should kick those down. That math is bad.
Okay, and the only movie that one person picked on their own was John's dark horse. Final Destination Bloodlines. He's the only one that had it. Every other movie had at least 2 people.
Well,
picking
Final
it. So that's
Destination
pretty
was
good.
my number 10.
That's right. So
Yeah.
that's the only one that was unique. So John, do you want to go through your picks really quick?
So my dark horse was F1, and then Final Destination, Bad Guys 2, Elio, Thunderbolts, Mission Impossible, How to Train Your Dragon, Superman, Fantastic Four, Lilo and Stitch, and Jurassic World Das Reboot.
Das Rebootery. Name of the episode.
All right.
Name of your
and for
sex.
myself, I had Karate Kid Legend, my dark horse. I had Bad Guys 2 at 10. I then went to From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, 9. Elio, 8. Let's see. I had Mission Impossible, 7. Then Thunderbolt, 6. Superman, 5. Fantastic Four, 4. How to Train Your Dragon, 3. Jurassic World Rebirth 2, and then Lilo and Stitch live action
That's
number
a
1.
lot of difference this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
This year we do not have a consensus like
Yes,
top either 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Todd,
think the closest we got was Superman
You're banking
because we have it at 3, 4, and 5.
Todd's banking very heavily on the member berries, but then again, so am I. Superman and Fantastic Four, but I want the reverse. People who hated them will love them. Todd needs people who love them to love them more.
I mean, Thunderbolts were like 1 pick away from each other, so
Yeah.
5, 6, and 7. Lilo and Stitch though 1, 2, and 4. And then Jurassic World Rebirth 1, 2, and 2. So that's the one I think that we both agree. And I think Charlie, yeah, I mean, with
We
that,
both- You and I both had Elio at number 8, I think, Todd. So I think we have the same. There.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Charlie and I both have
yeah.
Rebirth at 2. So
Right.
there's a mixed bag. But yeah, ultimately, there's John. I can't blame you. You can't blame me. Charlie, well, we could blame it because we have got a couple in specific, but nothing at the top. So I think this is going to be a very fun year because there was other movies I saw that were out there that I'm like, they could really do something, or they're not going to hit, which is Naked Gun, a comedy.
Yeah.
Nobody had really had a non-animated comedy in their top 10.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't. I think it'll be more nichey, without a doubt.
And you know what? None of us did again. None of us went out and tried to find that one
oddity.
The female book club movie like last year.
My Name is Doris.
The Blake Lively movie last year, whatever one that was.
This Is Us.
Yeah, the one that came out. Yeah,
this is the lawsuit.
This ends with us. I don't know.
Which is funny because the lawsuit is never ending.
No, not My Name is Doris. Well, that's a throwback name.
Well, Freakier Friday, and we were talking about an old franchise with stars. That's end of August or in August.
That was my dark horse for a while because one of the people said it could crack 100, but I just didn't believe it.
There always does seem to be this one book based on a novel that's outside of our radars entirely that sneaks in there, and I didn't do it again this year.
We'll see.
I mean, we had Materialist, which is a rom-com with, I believe, a couple of different people in that movie that are pretty famous. We had 28 Years Later, a heritage franchise now that I just feel like it's been too long since
April had thought about that one because she said, well, it's kind of culty classic, but it's also from too long ago, I think, to really land. So
we've got a female comedy called Bride Hard with like Rebel Wilson. That might be,
Bride Hard.
I know.
Bride Hard.
Right.
Like they're brides.
Yeah. Like
I think you said Ride Hard.
Well, that's for after the wedding, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's so like a combination of Die Hard and
there's like Bride Hard is it like
I don't think there's terrorists involved. I do not. Yeah, I don't think there's any terrorists involved this wedding. I just think it's maybe it's a spoof about all the wedding movies. That would be really good. Yeah, we need a spoof movie based on movies. I think we're missing out on that.
I would love to have said that M3 GAN 2.0 would do something, but I just don't believe that's gonna. I
think that's okay in a February film. I don't think it's going to break through the summer.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, well, Todd, remind people, that over on the Discord, you had said you were going to get this going for everybody.
Didn't do it. Didn't do it. Too late. It's not going to happen. So next year I'll get on it. It's been busy 2 weeks, folks. So we'll do this next year. But if you are listening to like, hey, I want to do this, you can still do it like on the website. I think you could start late, but obviously if you don't get your picks in like by Wednesday, I think it's done because Thursday Thunderbolts drops, and that's the beginning.
Yep. Well, that's the show, John. Awesome to have you. I know you don't exist digitally, so I'm not even going to ask, but it's always a pleasure. Todd, bouncing over to you. Where do they find you out there?
Yeah, so glad John got to join us. It's been fun. We've been doing this for a long time, and we go back to college, so it's always good to get together. We need to do this more often, beyond being on a podcast. But with that, I'm on the blue skies at Todd Oxtra at Secret Friends Unite, and also on the threads at T Oxtra at Secret Friends Unite. Check out our Discord, check out our website, check out our YouTube channel.
Yes, I also follow some of those things, but if you want to follow me, don't know why you would, but sometimes I do fun stuff at the C3 on Blue Sky and Discord and Instagram, TheCeeThree. But one more time, the Discord, that's where all the fun geek chats are happening. Find us, Secret Friends Unite. If you don't find us, send us a DM. Always also remember, send us an email. You had a thought about something that's going on, secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. Write us something nice, and we may talk about it on the show if it's not true profanity laced. We'll see. But with that, thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring. To keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Bride hard or die hard. No one knows.
Boom!
Bride Hard.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.